Peace to the gods and earth, it's the God-born build universal, transmitter of supreme science on earth and in the universe. And this is iGod TV. And we're back, family. Once again on a Sunday, came to bring that science. You know, every time I pull up, we bring it straight supreme science. Every time, family. And we've been going forward, we've been transforming, we've been decoding, we've been breaking down the science into wisdom and making the connections, family. But before I get started, I want to say thank you to everybody that's been liking, subscribing, following, tapping in, walking with us on this journey, you know, and coming together so we can unlock these mysteries together, family. I want to thank everybody, you know what I mean? And I want to give a special shout out to Loyal to Foil. I want to give a special shout out to Loyal to the Foil and a special shout out to 1 Foot in 5D for showing me some love, bringing me on the show. We had a great interview and a great conversation, and there'll be many more to come. And I want to give a special shout out to them for bringing us on the channel, man, and letting us kick the science to the people, man, and spread the word, you know. Thanks to everybody. You know, we're going to keep tapping in, we're going to keep coming together, and we're going to keep breaking this down to evolve and become self-independent on ourselves here on this planet so we can take care of what we need to take care of without the dependence on the powers that be that hold us back and only spoon feed us what they want us to have as far as evolution. You know, they make us take baby steps when our minds and our bodies and our spirits are ready to take giant leaps. Okay, so I want to thank everybody back to iGod TV. And you already know how we do this, family, every single time. I want to say peace to the gods and earths, and we're going to go right to the mathematics. Now, today is Sunday, of course, and it's 8/15/2021. So that's 8/1/9/5/14 to 16 to 18 1/19. 9 plus 1 is 10, 1 and 0 is 1, which is the knowledge. Let's go to 120. Knowledge, the accumulation of facts through observing, learning, and respecting. Remember, respecting. Observe, soak it up, respect the outcomes. Knowledge is the foundation of all existence, for it must be known in order to manifest. See what I mean? That's what we've been talking about through all these pods, family. We have to know it. We have to have the knowledge of self to be able to manifest our true power and do the things that we need to do on this planet and have the planet rotate the way we know it should, and the unity of this planet like we know it should, okay? Knowledge is the light given off by the sun, which is the foundation of our solar system. Also the original man, who is the foundation of his family. We already know that, family, all right? Father, mother, children, sun, moon, stars, all right? As above, so below. That's exactly how all this thing works. Nothing is separate. Everything has a purpose, and that purpose is connected to another purpose. And that's how it's always going to be, family. And that's how it was put together, and that's how it was made, you know? So today, we're going to continue on with the energies, and we're going to continue on with how these things are manifested, how these things are sent to us, how these messages are sent to us from the messenger, are sent to us, and how they manifest and how they affect us, and what we can do with those energies to manifest what we need out here on this planet. Okay, and we've been talking about this. We've been showing the connection. We've been showing how everything comes together. We've been showing the positive, the negative, the electro, the magnetic. We've seen that it all hits you onto a cellular level, and we're going to talk about that today and what exactly those energies are that make it to this planet, and exactly where they affect us and how, family, okay? Now, we had some discussions with a few people about the 12 disciples and the 12 energies, and the sun changing its energy or the vibrations or the personality, so to speak, 12 times a year. So today we're going to prove it today, family. Today we're going to break it down, the connection between the 12 disciples, the 12 energies, the sun's manifestation through its cycle, 12 different energies, which are the 12 months, which breaks down this whole 12 matrix, so to speak. We're going to break that down today. We're going to make it simple and plain, understandable for everybody, and we're going to show the connection and how the sun changes these 12 times and what exactly happens and exactly what makes it to this planet and how it affects us, family. Okay? So here we go. Let me share my screen. Okay. So we see the sun. And we remember how we talked about the solar flares. This is the energy. These are the charged particles heading towards the rest of the planets. Okay? These are the explosions throughout the sunspot cycle, which send these charged particles to the planet Earth amongst the other planets to give life, transform life, and evolve life. Okay? And now we've seen in the earlier pods how the sunspots, these sunspots, change with the personality or the vibration of the sun. And we're going to show later on in this pod today, family, how these sunspots directly affect what happens on this planet on many levels. We're going to show that tonight, okay? Now, through these sunspots become these flares, which send off these charged particles to the planets, okay? These sunspot cycles we know are every 11 years, it changes the spots, how many, the rotation, and all that, which turns to these charged particles, okay? So we're about to show you here on iGod TV the supreme science on what these charged particles are, when they get here, how they get here, and how they affect us. Okay, family? We here, we took the time, we did the research, we pulling up with straight science, family. Let's go. I want to thank everybody again that's been tapping in, following, liking, subscribing. If you're here for the first time, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you follow up, watch the other shows, and keep up with what we're doing in the activation, family, so we can all do this in unison. Okay, let's continue on. Okay, now we're seeing again how when the charged particles, okay, they shoot off from the sun and headed towards the planets. Okay, now this is the Earth's magnetic field, electromagnetic field around it. Okay, now when these particles hit through this field, some are absorbed. Some of these charged particles are absorbed, and some of these charged particles are reflected, okay? That's what you're seeing here, the absorbing and the reflecting of the charged particles, all right? Now, if you can see the circles around the Earth here, just in the magnetic field, but up top, you can see the polarities, all right? The north and the south polarities, all right? Now, we're gonna show you on a closer level what these polarities look like and exactly how these particles get here, how they're reflected and how they're absorbed, okay? Let's continue. All right, now, here's the sun. Here's another diagram of what we just saw, but it's showing you exactly what these particles are when they're leaving, when they're coming to the sun and leaving. Now, as you can see, these blue arrows are cosmic rays, okay? These cosmic rays are what we've been talking about this whole time, family, okay? It's what we've been talking about this whole time with the 12 constellations. All right? We're here tonight, family. Every episode, we're going to unlock the mysteries. We're going to move forward towards the activation. iGod TV. Okay, family? Every time. Peace to the gods and earth. Peace to the team. Peace to the family. Okay? Let's continue. Now, these arrows, these cosmic rays are the particles and frequencies from the surrounding universe, these 12 constellations, okay? Sending the energies down. Now, as they bounce off the sun through its magnetic field, okay, it's transformed into what? You see the yellow line shooting off? Gamma rays, okay? The gamma rays are sending through the charged particles, traveling to the planets, okay? So now we see in the first step, the cosmic rays coming to the sun, being filtered, translated by the messenger, okay, into gamma rays, charged particles sent to the planet, okay? You see it? All right, Now let's break it down, okay? Now we see at the top, this is the sun. Now if you look at the sun, and this is split in northern and southern hemispheres, okay? You can see it's showing us the exact makeup of the sun, the exact charge and the placement of the charges of the sun, okay? I know a lot of y'all flat earthers might not want to see this right now, but this is what it is, family, and we're not holding no punches, okay? We're not playing the games. We're not doing the back and forth. We're not doing any of that today, okay? We're pulling up with the science, okay? Now here we go. Now, as you see, the positive and negative charges, which are just what? Electromagnetic, okay? Not good and bad, bad and evil, good and evil, not any of that. Electromagnetic charges, okay? The sun radiates charged particles, okay? It shines off charged particles. When that sunlight's hitting you when you outside, you're absorbing charged particles, okay? Know what those charges are when they get to you, so you know what you're absorbing. You wake up, don't know why you don't feel good. You think it's because of what's going on in your life, that you need to think about that every day, that you need to think about that all day and let it destroy the whole day. No, these particles are to be transformed, absorbed, and also transformed into things that work for you, okay? And even when you're in those moments, when you think about those times, that's when you transform it to know they can all be fixed, all right? And that's peace. All right, here we go. We see how the sun is radiating the charged particles. You see, it's the plus and the minus signs are the electromagnetic charges, okay? Now, if we look to the lower left, we see the charged particle. This is what the particle looks like. If we were to break them down separately, this is what it would look like when it's coming to you, okay? If we break it down into four, you're receiving two positive charges, two negative charges, okay? Through the what? Solar wind. Now I want you to look over in the right corner, family. If we're looking over in the right corner, we see what we saw earlier. You see the Earth's magnetic field, okay? Hold on. Okay? We see the Earth's magnetic field. Here it is zoomed in, all right? This is what they call the Van Allen belts. That surrounding force field you see, all right? Bending the light, the L's, bending the light bender, okay? Now, as it's bending it, it does what? Charged solar wind particles enter the Van Allen belts and spiral between the poles, okay? So these positive and negative charges hit the Earth's magnetic field through the Van Allen, filter through the Van Allen belts, which you can see are positive, negative charges also, which are charges also, and through the top of the poles, the positive and negative poles, these particles are absorbed into the planet, okay? You're seeing it right here. You're seeing how it gets here, family. You're seeing the journey of the message, okay? You're seeing the messenger up top, family, okay? And when we look at the sun, or the SUN sun, or the SON sun, what did it say about the SON sun? Two natures. He had two natures, okay? We see it right here. Electromagnetic are the two natures, family, okay? Decoding, unlocking, that's what we do here, iGod TV, all right? Born, Build, Universal. We're pulling up with the science every time, family, okay? Now let's continue on. All right? Right here, we see the waveform of how these charges hit when they make it through the Van Allen belts, okay? Now, if we look over here at the right, we can see what it says in the figure. The varying magnetic field affects the manufacture of DNA at the conception, causing 4 types of genetic mutation 3 times every year. Okay, family? So what's that saying? When the very second you are born, you were synthesized by these charged particles through the magnetic field, okay? And this is where you get your sign. Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Gemini. These are where you get these signs, okay? These are the frequency. You were synthesized with that frequency into your DNA at the conception, okay? 4 types of genetic mutation 3 times a year, okay? So we're broken down into those 4 groups 3 different times, okay? And if you look under it, it says right here, you see fire, earth, air, water, fire, earth, air, water. If you look at your signs, you see your signs have those elements tied to them, okay? And you see there's 12 of these energies broken down into 4 groups, all right? And look at the top again, it says, affects the manufacture of DNA at conception, okay? So this neutral DNA, when you're inside that womb, as soon as you come out, is synthesized by these charged particles, all right? The 12, look at the bottom, family. The 12 genetic mutations every year correlate with the 12 signs of the zodiac, okay? I told you. Sorry. Charged particles from the cosmic rays. The cosmic rays hit the sun, which are from the 12 constellations, transformed to gamma rays, sent to the planet, and here you are at birth, synthesizing these energies, and you become that. Okay, family? We cooking tonight, family. You know how we do it. It's on the pot, and you smell it. It's smelling good, family. Working the wrist, family. We stirring it up, and we cooking, okay? This is how we getting it done, family, right here. We see how it affects the DNA. And we see that at the bottom it says from the 12 signs of the zodiac. So those cosmic rays to the sun, the gamma rays, to affect you here, which transform and manifest into these elements 12 times a year, okay? This is the sun changing its vibration and its frequency 12 times a year, okay? And it even breaks down further than that. All right, now we're gonna show you here in a minute how it breaks down even further. But I wanna make my point of what I said earlier of the sun changes 12 times a year. You don't get the same sun energy or frequency or sunlight, sun rays the whole time of the year, every day of the year, every month of the year, okay? And we're gonna keep breaking it down to show you precisely how we receive it and how it hits us and how it affects us and what we can do with this energy, family. Let's go. Let's go, family. I want to thank everybody once again, family. I know you're here, you're seeing this, you know what we're doing. Let's continue. All right, now right here is a graph showing you how when those charged particles come in and it affects that DNA in birth, let's see what it does to your mother before she's even impregnated with you, okay? You see the sun, look at the top, let's start from the top. The sun rays come in through the pineal gland. We seen earlier in the other pods how through the jet pillar, the spine, to the brain stem, the bird, Heru, up to the mind, okay? And right here we have the hypothalamus and the pineal gland, the third eye, all right? Sends those chemical signals that turn those cosmic rays and that energy into chemical signals, which head down through the pituitary gland, giving it to the rest of, sending the message through the rest of the body, okay? See, it's like a circuit board, family, on a computer. It's transforming this energy into messages, sending it through the body. And I'm gonna show you later on how it's exactly like a computer using binary code to transfer through the body. But we're gonna show that earlier, I don't wanna get off track. Now we see as it continues from the pituitary down to the sexual organs, okay? And a lot of us, if y'all saw me on Loyal to the Foil, we saw how the Ankh connected with the ovaries and the female sexual organs. Now we're showing you how those organs are activated right here. You see it says the womb, all right? This is how it's directly affecting the body into those sexual reproductive organs, okay? Let's continue. All right, now we see it again. Right here we see that cycle and that wave, and those, and on the left we see it's a 28-day cycle. That's why the months have 30 to 31 days, how they have it mapped, but it's originally 28 days every week, every month, okay? And the reason it's 28 days is because it's broken down just like this, okay? 7 days of frequency 4 times a month, okay? So for 7 days, we see in the beginning, it's below of that, at the bottom of that chart, we see for 7 days, the electro charge. For 7 days, the magnetic charge. 7 days, electro charge. 7 days, magnetic charge. Okay, positive, negative, positive, negative. Okay, we looking at the top, we see ovulation in the woman's body to be able to reproduce. Same way the sun is reproducing on these planets through those cosmic and gamma rays, is the same way it's giving you the ability in your body. Same way sperm is done the same way. Cerebral spinal fluid is the actual name of sperm because it's coming from the mind, just like it's happening for women right here we're showing. Okay, now if we're looking at this chart on the left, we can see that that wave of the sun, that 28-day solar cycle, it moves in the same wave as the woman's estrogen and progesterone cycle. Okay, and if we look over here on the right, we can see it's a damn near duplicate of that wave, that gamma wave that's being sent from that solar flare from those sunspots. Okay, family, here's the connection. There's no difference between you and what created us and what makes us, okay? And what influenced us, okay? We are all the same, okay? As above, so below means one in the same, okay? No difference, and we're showing it right here tonight. Okay, let's continue. All right, now here we are, but let's look at that wave a little closer, okay? Through that 28-day rotation, you're seeing exactly what those charges are, okay? And it's a +1, positive, -2, +3, -4, okay? On this arc we see, and we're going to show you earlier what this arc is all about, okay? It's just right here, it's just showing us the connection between the woman's reproductive system and how eggs are produced in the woman's body and how those solar waves are on the same exact frequency. Okay, that's what this is showing you right here. So ladies, you are directly connected. We know we say the moon too, but the moon is also on that same 28-day cycle. And we say the positive and the negative, the sun and the moon, the electromagnetic, all right? Both of these are working in unison to help us create and reproduce on every level, okay? Now, here's another look at the Van Allen belts so we can see what I was talking about, how that energy goes in through the poles, those charged particles we see on the left, how it goes through those poles, excuse me, family, down into the earth and into the poles and then manifested on this planet, okay? And now we're showing over here on the right what we were just talking about, how it travels into the body and how it goes through these systems to create to give us the ability to create, okay? From the pineal gland on down to the thyroid, all the way down to the ovaries and adrenals, creating those eggs, giving us the ability to reproduce. And in the man, it's going down those same glands, down to the testicles, where it's creating this sperm, cerebral spinal fluid, to give us the ability to create. Okay, family? Transferring the power through cosmic rays, charged particles. When it hits your skin, when you feel the sunlight, it's charged particles that you're receiving. What are these charged particles? Is it electromagnetic or magnetic? Okay, what do I do with this energy once it hits me? What do I have the ability to do with this energy that gets here? Okay, and we can see on the left how what we were talking about earlier, some is absorbed and some is reflected. Okay, all that we would never be able to absorb all the energy that the sun is hitting through these flares, through gamma rays. Okay, let's continue. All right, family. Now, we talked about the sunspots and the gamma rays and how it affects the body. Okay, now once it affects into the body, we're gonna show you the reaction. We're gonna show you the effect. We showed you the cause, now we're gonna get to the effect. We keep everything on the perfect timeline and we keep everything in unison, all right, family? So the next step, let's see how it manifests, all right? Let's see how this energy manifests, what we've been doing with it since it's been getting here, okay? Now, of course, we know that this timeline's a lot older, but we're gonna give them the 3,000 years BC to where we're gonna start, okay? So now if we're looking at this, family, we're seeing the waves on this chart. You see the sunspot number, okay? Now that's showing you the peaks and valleys, the highs and lows of the sunspots and the activity when it's the highest and when it's its lowest, and show you what happens on this planet when these waves rise and fall, okay? Now we see in the 3000, 2500 BC, we see Sumerian and the Kemetic height, okay? We're looking at the height of the sunspot number, meaning there's many sunspots rotating around the sun, sending off many high frequency messages, okay? Pyramids being built, Sumerian civilization being built, okay? You see it? You see it? Now, we also see Stonehenge around 2000, 1500 BC, okay? Mapping out the cycle of the sunspots, okay? We're gonna show that here in a little bit, but a lot of people wonder, oh, what is it? Is it a calendar? Is it a clock? Yes, it's a clock, but what's it keeping time of? The sunspot cycle, okay? That's what it was for, okay? Now, look at this. We see a decline in the sunspots around 1500, between 1500 and 1000 BC, okay? The 18th dynasty, King Tut gets murdered, Akhenaten's being looked for, there's no son to take over the lineage, so Harem-Heb takes over, where we end up getting Ramses, the whole Ramses dynasty, okay? This was part of the decline of the Kemetic dynasties, and you see it's also a decline in the sunspots. All right, family? We see in here how it's affecting us directly, okay? Now let's look a few years later, between 1000 and 500 BC, okay? Homeric minimum, okay? That was the Pharaoh Homer, okay? We see the Greek minimum, we see the Greek decline, okay? And then we see here, right between 500 BC and 1 AD, we see this is when the Romans are coming around, when the sunspot activity is starting to pick back up and vibrating high frequency through these gamma rays. And we see when the Romans begin to come on top. We see another increase in civilization, all right? And at that same time, we also see the Mayan dynasty is going on and is at a maximum at this time, because you see a few hundred years later, we see the decline of even the Mayan civilization. That's the Mayan, the Incans. Look over, we see Machu Picchu, Peru, the collapse, all right, after the medieval maximum, because right there we see the kings, the queens of the Northern Hemisphere. They started to have a little bit of prosperity, but you see not as high as the other civilizations in the midst of the Mayan collapse and the Peru collapse, which we also know had a lot to do with them through the Crusades, all right? But that's also coming from these sunspots sending off this energy, okay? All right? All right? Let's continue. We see in here, before I go on, family, I want to show you, let's look at this. We're seeing how it's affecting us directly. We're seeing the effect. I've been showing you how it gets here, how it gets to us. This is how we've been manifesting it right here. What are we going to do to change to break the cycle? Okay, hold on, family. We're looking at the cycle of life and what's been happening with this energy and how it's been affecting us, family. And what we're doing here tonight is recognizing, taking a glimpse into the past, looking at it and seeing it, and evaluating and seeing what can we do now to change this? What can we do to break this cycle, okay? You're not gonna completely break the peaks and the valleys. That's life, that's what happens. But we know these things are happening. We know these things are coming. We can be more prepared. And this is how they can predict and see what's gonna happen to prepare themselves for different delusions and different times of prosperity, so they can know what to do, so it wouldn't just be a random happening and things that's going on, family, okay? So we gotta look into this, see when that's our time, which we know it's now. This is the peak, sunspots are popping, and it's time to make these changes and time to make these moves, family, okay? So everybody that's been following, everybody that's been watching, everybody that's been liking, take this in and know this is part of that activation, and these sunspots are sending this message to activate us so that we can transform the world onto the next age. Okay, family? Let's continue. Peace to the gods and earths, man, woman, and child. Let me share my screen. Okay? All right, let's continue. Okay? Now, if we look in here, we're looking in those valleys, those peaks and valleys. It's also positive and negative. Remember, electro and magnetic. Every one of these charges and every one of these charged particles and these peaks aren't just good things. Okay? So now if we're looking at recent times, we're going to see how it's been affecting us on another cellular level. Okay? Now, if we look on the right, we can see, well, first on the left, we see the 11.5-year sunspot cycle since the 1680s, okay? Now, if we look on the right, it's showing the matching up to now, it's carrying on those dates to now, up to 1990, and we can see exactly what happened at those peaks on another level, on let's say a negative level, okay? So 1920, pandemic, okay? Look at the red arrows. 1930, pandemic. 1940, pandemic. 50, 60, and so on up to 90, okay? SARS, things like that, up to today with the COVID-19, which is now went over to what they want to call Delta now, which are all just other things of the sun, because other names for the sun, we know Corona has to do with the sun, Delta, Olympus, all this has to do with the sun, okay? So they letting you know that these viruses and these things coming from the messenger, all right? This is why they don't have control over it, all right? Now, if we're looking, we can see the pandemics, okay? Through the 11.5-year sunspot cycle. So if we know that there's a pandemic, so-called now, we know that it is a height of the sunspots. Just like I was saying earlier, the awakening, and this is the flip side of the coin. This is the other side of the coin, okay? The thing that we have to hurdle. To be triumphant, you have to have something to hurdle, okay? And this is it, all right? We're gonna make it through this, and through this podcast, we are showing you how to manifest in the body, keep the body healthy, keep the mind healthy, the mind, body, and soul healthy, and to recognize these energies, how they get here, how to transform them, and how to make it through these situations, and how to prosper in the situations that you need to prosper from. Okay, family? Okay? This is what I do on this channel. My team, we get together, we put the work in, and we get it done, family. So it can be simple and plain, and overstood, understood, and understood for us to take it to where we need to take it, family, to activate together. Okay? Okay? So we know it's a pandemic right now. We know it's heavy sunspots, and we know it's also an awakening. All right? The energy is being sent through these flares, and we're absorbing it, and it's time for that evolution. All right? Let's continue. Okay? This is showing you the cellular level. This is showing you the cycle of how the sun hits and how it transforms the cells. Okay? Cell growth, cell division, new cell growth, then cell growth, cell division, systems development for those cells, the cellular system, all right? Hormonal stipulations, the hormones from the glands come in, which creates the cell growth, which turns into the healthy organism, okay? This is the stage of once it hits the planet, this is how the growth and manifestation on the planet, on the cellular level, plants, animals, everything, okay? This is the cycle, all right? And you see at the top, the 28-day rotation. Coming from there, this is how it trickles down. All right? Okay, now we're seeing that on this diagram, it's showing us the sunspots and how they rotate, which causes this friction to send off these flares, okay? So if we look in alphabetical order, we see the rotation of the spots, okay? They're moving in rotation towards the right, okay? But it's going to show us that it's going to tell us that the sun's actual rotation is rotating towards the left, okay? So when these sunspots are moving towards the right and the sun's rotating to the left, it causes this friction to send off what we see in H, the solar flare, okay? Now, if we're looking at EFG, we see the different solar flares and how they sent off, okay, and what they look like. All right, we're breaking all of this down, family. We decoding it. We're showing exactly what these things are, exactly what they look like, exactly how they affect you, and exactly what we do with them. All right, iGod TV. All right, let's go. Now, if you look at H, we see the solar flares coming off. All right, and I'm gonna show you later on how that G we see over there, and on H, we're showing the ark. The Ark of the Covenant is what we're going to prove later, family, because we know what the ark is. Noah's Ark, Ark of the Covenant, it's all the same ark, it's all the frequency, it's all the wave, okay? And we're going to connect that as we continue on. Let's go. All right, now look on the left, okay? We're seeing the solar wave, all right, on the sunspot cycle, all right? This is a combination of the graphs we've been seeing, how it breaks down every month through the positive and negative charge, and how that wave goes up and down, all right? Now, if we look in kinetic science, it tells us how the sun travels, how Ra travels through up across the sky and then down through the underworld, and then is born again and comes back to life, okay? We're seeing it over here in the left. Here is the journey of life, death, and resurrection, okay? Here is the life, death, and resurrection right here, family, okay? Top and bottom right here. We see in the Ark of the Covenant, all right? We see in the Ark, okay? We see in Noah's Ark riding what? The waves, okay? Know your words, all right? Here is the Ark riding the waves right here on the left, family. This is the high science, okay? If you want to stay on that physical science of a man putting everything in one boat, stick with it, family, and this ain't the pod for you. But if you unlock it and you're a decoder, you know exactly what I'm saying. This is how he put everything into one boat, because this is the waves. These are the cosmic waves and gamma rays, charged particles that created everything. This is how he got everything in the boat. This is everything riding the waves. This is the Ark of the Covenant and of Noah's Ark, because if they tell you anything about the Ark of the Covenant, they say what? It was an electrical device. All right, family? The Ark of the Covenant was an electrical device. All right? Whew. We cooking, family. We cooking, and we not holding no punches, okay? And we breaking it down to leave no question and no disputes, all right? No disputes, all right? Let's go. All right, now we see the direction of these cosmic rays, of these gamma rays, these charged particles, and the directions of how they hit, all right, through the solar wind, which is actually our wind in our direction, okay? So I got a question for all you flat earthers, okay? If the earth don't spin and nothing spins and there is no rotation and everything's flat, how do we have wind? How does the wind blow if nothing's moving? Okay, if you're in a car, you're driving, the wind's blowing, okay? Same instance, okay? You have to have a rotation to have this wind, all right? And we're seeing it right here, how this wind is produced. And at the top, we see the wave. All right? And we're seeing again, just in case we missed it, how it's affecting us and how we manifest it. Okay? Now look, they're breaking it down a little bit. It says 31 BC, the Mayan calendar begins, the birth of Venus. A neutral Rourke magnetic shift causes Venus to topple on its axis. All right? Which means that a polar shift. All right? Okay? Okay? Now let's see something. See that warp on the right? It was a shift in that warp. The sun changed polarities. And when that happened, it affected these planets, and it was documented by the Mayans. Okay? And it says next, the Mayans correctly predicted that the sun would shift its magnetic field so many days after their calendar began. All right, they were mapping this out. Okay, along with the Ice Age and the melting of the Ice Age, they were able to predict because they were keeping track of the sunspot cycle. Okay, which I'm telling us to do tonight on how we can keep track of it so we can know how to move and prepare. All right, that's what we're doing, family. It's been happening for thousands and thousands of years. We've been the only ones that haven't been doing it, family, okay? Because they disconnected us. They pulled the plug. But here we are tonight, reconnecting on iGod TV Sunday on the 7th episode of this series, okay? Everything is everything. Let's go. All right, here's a closer look of the waves, the charged particles, all right? All right, 72 days or 87 days, and the peaks and valleys of that wave, Noah's Ark, riding the waves, or the Ark of the Covenant, as above, so below, the above the world, the living world and the underworld, the resurrection, and the constant cycle of how this always happens for infinity, okay, family? All this does here at the end is go back down and come back up. How we've been showing, family. All right? Let's continue. Okay? This is showing you more of how those rays shoot off. All right? And it's showing you the connecting it in the hexagon. All right? Showing you in the cycle, that mathematically the separation, how many days in this cycles through this hexagon graph. All right, 1,400 days. They're showing you broken down in this cycle. All right. Okay. Now, we're seeing how we mapping it out over here on the left and how we breaking down this cycle in these sunspots, okay? Now we see over here on the right how they use these exact stones to be able to map out on Stonehenge the cycle of these sunspots, okay? When I showed you over here on the right, the 1,400 days in this cycle, and on this part of the cycle and how it breaks down in this hexagon, all right? To be able to map out this event, all right? Now we look over here, we see on a Stonehenge, 40 vertical stones, 35 horizontal stones, all right? 40 times 35, 1,400, equals 2 hexagon rolls, all right? Breaking down the 1,400 days, all right? So yes, it is a calendar, but what is it keeping track of? The sunspots and the 1,400 day cycle in the change of the magnetic field, okay? So this is evidence of how we were mapping it out, how we put it together, and what we were keeping track of. Had nothing to do with no alien return or no alien information except for extraterrestrial, meaning outside of the planet, what the sun's doing and what the moon is doing, okay? If we talking extraterrestrials, we're talking about the sun and the moon and the stars. All right, those are the only things we're calculating. These are the only things we're mapping. And these are the only things that are influencing us and giving us the information. All right, and we're showing it right here. We're showing how this is our science. This is what we did as human beings. This had nothing to do with visitors standing next to us teaching us this science. The only visitors was the science itself, okay? I showed you how it gets here, how the extraterrestrials get here in their ships, the charged particles, and how it gives us the information, okay? The charged particles are the ships, okay? Coming from other star systems, what? Cosmic rays, right to the sun. We've seen that earlier, family, so we know how all this connects. All right, let's continue. All right, here again, we see on the left how the sun's broken down into its energies, okay? And how it's sent off over here on the right in the arcs. Just reiterating the wave. Okay? Now, if we take a month and we look at the month of December, all right, which is supposed to be part of the rebirth of the planet, when we're going back in, getting ready to go back into the warmer months, when the awakening is coming, we can see on the left exactly broken down into hours and days how the particles hit and that cycle in one orbit. If we see here on the left, how these particles are hitting us through these days, all right, through these weeks, all right, the positive and negative charge. And if you see them towards the end of December, getting a lot of negative charge, the death, and then the rebirth towards the end. We're starting to see the resurrection coming back of the part positive charges. Like they was telling us in Christmas, the birth, all right, in December, you see over here on the left, family, if you're looking at these negative charges turning to positive, we seeing the birth of the Son, of the Christ. We seeing the birth right here. Okay? Okay? It's right here, family. We're breaking down the mysteries. All of this is science, supreme science, okay? From the transmitter of supreme science on earth and in the universe, Born Build Universal, okay? iGod-TV. We looking here on the left at the rebirth or at the birth, okay? In December. Look, the 23rd. I mean the 20th, okay? Look right after the 20th. Christmas is December 25th. We see the rebirth. We see the birth of the Son, the S-U-N Son, which they tell us the S-O-N Son, okay? You're looking directly at it and how it exactly happens. This is it under the microscope, and we can see exactly what they meant, all right? Shout out to all my family that's here with us still, tapping in and following us through and decoding, okay? You see where we going, all right? We here, family, we here, all right? Let's continue. All right, now we're looking at how it breaks down every month. On the left is 1 through 12 every month. We see in the fields, the positive charges and the negative charges or the neutral charge, okay? Which at the end of that, we see the solar radiation. So we're seeing at the end of the month, if it was overall positive charge or overall negative charge for that month, all right? Now, if we look on the right, we can see how it's breaking down into that zodiac signs and what element, okay? So we see the first month, we know the head, which we've seen in the pods, Aries, fire. We all know that's a fire sign. Why? If we look on the left, solar radiation for the month, positive. Okay? Taurus, earth, negative charge. Okay? Gemini, air, positive charge. Okay? And so on. We're seeing how these particles correlate with these elements, which correlate with these signs to the months, to the energies, to the body. Okay? 12. For all those who was asking about the sun changing his personality or his energies 12 times a month, 12 times a year, here it is. Here's how we got the calendar. Here's how we got the 360 to 365 days. And this is how we got the 12 months. This is how we got the 12 energies. This is how we got the 12 signs. Okay? And this is how the elements break down into those 12 signs. Okay? This is the 12 disciples. This is the Last Supper. This is the energies. This is the cycle. All right, family? You're looking directly at it right here. Everything is everything, like I said in the last pod, and here is the connection. Stop separating yourself. There is no separation, but the one they created. Okay? Okay? Let's go. All right. Now we're looking at that wave again. We're seeing that arc. Now we're seeing how it changes on the left and the right through the months. And we look at earth. When we look on the left, fire, earth, air, water, that's the signs. Aries, this is how we're going through it, through the month, above, below, the horizon and the neutral wave, okay? That line in the middle is the horizon and the neutral wave, and also the equator of the earth. For those who want to talk about the flat earth, this is the globe. And that line is the equator also, and how the sun moves across the sky. Okay? Now we see at the top in figure B and down at the bottom, we see how it's switching into those signs. All right? How those waves are switching into those signs. All right? Introverted and extroverted signs. We all know about if they tell you introverted, extroverted. This is why. This is the breakdown. Cosmic waves, gamma rays, charged particles. All right? Now, if we look on the right, we're going to see what we talked about earlier, family, when I was talking about that binary code. When I showed you how that was like a circuit board for the woman, all right? When I showed you that circuit board, okay, I'm gonna show you exactly what we meant. And we talked about that binary code, how these chemical signals and all this comes down into signals. Here's the signal, just like in the computer, family. This is where they got the computer from, actually. But here we're gonna show you, direct. All right? Now we're looking on the right, we see the 12 signs, okay? Now if we're looking as the graph goes on, we see in the binary code. Here is the message broken down. Now we all seen the matrix. This is what Neo was looking at, okay? We showing it to you right here, family, and how to see it, all right? Are you with me, family? Are you with me here? We all seen what Neo saw in the Matrix when he was going to take Agent Smith down, and we saw the binary code and how he broke that down. Once he saw the code, he was able to activate and break down and master everything, okay? Okay? To master the energies, all right? To synthesize and control the energies through this binary code, okay? Do you see it, family? This is the code they were talking about on the Matrix. All right? See, but they try to tell you the sun was already burned out. No, this is the sun and this is the message. This is how the message gets here. This is the code, and how the code gets here is from the cosmic rays coming down. This is from the universe. This is the universal message, the binary codes. Okay? This is what Neo saw right here. Oh, family, all right? We cooking it up, family. We not holding back. We not asking for permission. We not asking for no oaths. We giving it right to you, family. The deepest of mysteries. Okay? The science of you tonight on iGod TV. Okay? All right? Now this is how it's broken down. And if we look at this, we seeing at the top how the months are broken down, how the charges are broken down, and into the 12 months. All right? Now, if we see how what I showed in the last pod, the Last Supper, we seen how it was broken down into threes. All right? We seen how it's broken down into threes, and we seen how it was the what? The 4 seasons, okay? Coming from these charged particles. All right? From what they're showing us at the bottom, the sun. All right? Which is the Christ in the middle of the table at the Last Supper. And we're showing you the breakdown right here. This is the other diagram. This is another diagram of the Last Supper right here. You're seeing it right here. Okay? This is another breakdown of it like we showed in the last pod, and how it's broke down into the seasons and how it's broken down into the months coming from the sun's rotation and energy. All right, family. All right, family. Gods or principles, all right? Ask them that. Whenever they come at you with that crap, you ask them, gods or principles, family? What side you want? All right? Let's go. All right? Here's more of the breaking down of the binary code. Okay? Okay? Showing you the message in the months. All right? Y'all can take a look at this screenshot or whatever you need to do to go do more looking into it, all right? We ain't got, this will take all night. We ain't got all night to break it down, but I'm just showing you how the code matches up, how it is a system, how it is runs just like a computer. This is where they get the computer from, and that code, where the code come from, what the code is, and how Neo saw it and was able to break it down, okay? into the circuit board, which is your body. All right? All right? Okay? We see the ark, as above, so below. We see heaven and hell right here. We see the two natures right here. We see Noah's ark right here. I keep reiterating it, family, because you have to know the deepest mystery. They want you to think all this physical stuff, but it gets deeper than that. It ain't just physical floods and earth disasters, which we see also happens, but it all comes from here. Okay? If it was a flood, it came from this flood initially. If there was a Noah's ark, it only happened because of this happening right here. Okay? Run tell that. Run back and tell them that, family. If it happened, it's only from this cause. This is the cause of that effect. All right? Okay? This is some Asians and showing you how in China, how they kept track of it through their New Year's and the charges, the positive and negative charges and the charged particles. Okay? We're just showing you, family, how it's all been mapped and calculated and tracked by every civilization, how they still do it, but they keep it from you. That way they can control you and control the energy that's going around. Okay? But we're showing you here today how it's broken down, what it is. This is showing you exactly what the energy is, family. Okay? Okay? Good and bad days, feelings, anxiety, depression, these things can be conquered. You're seeing where they come from and you're seeing how they evolve. Okay? This is a close-up more so we can see December 23rd, 20th on how the rebirth. This is cycle of December, and we're showing you how the living on the spiritual sense, and then we're seeing the death coming, and then we're seeing the birth. All right? Right here. Simple and plain for us, family. All right? Okay? This is that wave, and this is how it's traveling to the other planets. All right? Still that same wave. It's all hitting us and affecting us the same way, being transferred and bouncing off to the next planet. Same way those cosmic rays hit the sun, bounce off into gamma rays and hit the rest of the planets. Those gamma rays bounce off and they hit to go and travel through the rest of the universe and hit the rest of the planets. Okay? Okay? Now this is showing here on the left how those rays hit and how it affects the bees on the cellular level. Okay? And how it goes with the sunspots. Okay? Okay? You see it? They have the eggs for the queen and the worker, the larva stage, the incubation stage. Once it's born, living off the royal jelly, and the position in the hive. Okay? All relates to this sunspot cycle. Okay? Okay? Now, family, we've been looking at this and we've been seeing how it affects us. We've been seeing how the message is sent. We've been seeing the journey. We've been seeing how the ships get here through charged particle. Okay? We see what the extraterrestrial influence is. Okay? We see how it all gets here. We see what happens. All right? We see how it affects us. Okay? Now, as we activate, we see how to utilize these energies and what to do with them to manifest what we need and what we want out of life. Okay? And we also seen in these pods how we use these energies to restore and keep the body healthy. Okay? Through these frequencies, we match them up with the frequencies of the organs, with the frequencies of vegetation, the elements, vitamins and minerals on the planet to be able to affect and heal and restore the body. Okay? All of this coming from these waves, all of this coming from these particles, all of this coming from the messenger. Okay, family? This had nothing to do with no spookism. This has nothing to do with worshiping of many gods. This has to do with you and the message from the creator and the gift the creator gave you and how you utilize it to live your life to the fullest potential. Okay, family? We breaking the chain, we breaking the chain, we breaking the cycle. No longer will the enemy keep us at bay and hold us back from our true birthright, which is total activation and free minds. Okay, to live free is through that activation and through that one connection. Okay, breaking the restraints of separation. Okay, and this is what we're going to continue to do, family. I want to thank everybody once again for coming in, tapping in with us, and sticking with us through this journey, sitting through the podcast, you know, waiting those couple of weeks for us to do, for the family to do the research and bring it together. Because, you know, every time we pull up, family, it's straight science. Peace.